It does feel like every Morgan Stanley note on Tesla from Jonas is about another unit.
We're least confident in Tesla in Q2, Bryn.
This analyst sees a credible path to break-even gross margin in Q4.
They needed money. There were maybe financial partners out there they could have gone with, but this helps them a lot. And also helps Volkswagen, by the way.
But it does give them a valuation floor. We're definitely licensing this tech to other OEMs. Yeah. Is it worth 45% upside on today's move?
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is down in the pre-market, just barely, sitting at 187.20. TSLA had a pretty decent day yesterday, despite...
Tesla faces new worries over the quality of its Cybertrucks. The firm has recalled more than 11,000 of the electric pickups in the US. That's over issues with windshield wipers and loose trim.
Normally, you can expect the stock to have a 3 to 5% dip when something like that happens. But in reality, the street could have cared less, which does little for my weekly put position. Dow!
There's a lot of disinformation right now about the F-Series not doing well. And that is not correct. The F-Series is continuing to take share. I understand actually that Stellantis may be losing share to Dodge, to Ford. And I don't think that Ford is at a level that's dangerous. But it does. Jonas points out that maybe Ford will come up with a way maybe to return shareholders more. They have not indicated they want to do a buyback yet. New CFO. I think it's possible. I think Ford has plenty of money, but just be aware that this stock had a move yesterday in the face of what I thought was a disinformation campaign about Ford losing share. And disinformation meaning that when you check it out, it didn't come out to be true.
Well, given the GM Ford year-to-date split, I would imagine you wouldn't be disappointed if they...
No, that's what I'm hoping for. I think that Jonas has got a good piece that it shouldn't be this far apart. But GM, Mary Barra, we spend a lot more time. It's very interesting because if Mary Barra and GM were the focus and not Tesla, then we would probably feel a little more bullish. Yes. GM's done a remarkable job. But I did think that Jonas's piece saying that Ford is still his favorite is very, very positive.
As for Tesla, it does feel like every Morgan Stanley note on Tesla from Jonas is about another unit. Either the AI or Optimus and today it's energy.
I think the robot division is worth $72 per share. And I spent that's not back to the envelope. I spent all night, and you can even see I tweeted at 3:30, and I was working on how here's a light bulb. A light bulb is worth $47, I don't know, maybe as much as $82 per share is this new light bulb.
Yes, that's a front of the envelope calculation, Jim.
Can we it's a car company. It's doing very well. He's got a lot of other things in the fire, and yes. I think it's a buy here. But I like Ford's a little easier. Got that 5% yield. It's down a lot versus GM.
All jokes aside, if you want to buy a car company, Ford's not a bad option. There is a huge chasm between Ford and GM. There probably shouldn't be. But if you want something that's a little more than an automotive company, your best bet is to go with Tesla. Cars, energy, robots, whatever Tesla gets involved with, setting the trend seems to be an understatement.
Tesla today has a call. Wells Fargo, we're least confident in Tesla in Q2, Bryn. They expect Tesla to be impacted by another sub 400K delivery quarter, lower pricing driven by promos. Yep. They reiterate they're underweight and the target's 120. What do you want to do with this?
I don't think it's going to 120, first of all.
Oh, but I wish it would. The buying opportunity that's present. I need more shares, people. 120 would be a very good sign. Not only for just buying the shares outright, but establishing some long call positions out through 2026. One can dream, can't he?
It's going to be a murky next couple of quarters. I do think, though, the big event is going to be August 8th, right? Elon's going to come out and his team, and they're going to reveal their plans for self-driving, robotaxi, et cetera. And I will say there's probably no other founder CEO in the world that can keep investors interested and excited about a name than Elon Musk.
Oh, well, that's for certain.
You're damn right.
We got this really optimistic Guggenheim note. I did see, Caroline, wow, that was a tongue twister for a second. But, I mean, seeing some nice optimism finally, we can see losses maybe start to ease and profits is what I saw. So that, I think, has to be a huge reason we're higher today.
A very bullish call from Guggenheim, sending shares actually up now 7% on the heels of this. Guggenheim initiated coverage of Rivian with a buy rating and an $18 price target. Although, just to put it into perspective, Rivian shares are still down 50% year to date, only down about 12.5% over the past 1 year. But Guggenheim, this analyst over at Guggenheim sees reasons that could change and has a positive outlook for the future of the EV maker, which of course hasn't yet turned a profit. But this analyst sees a credible path to break-even gross margin in Q4 and then a positive inflection in EBITDA in mid-2026.
The Guggenheim note. That is probably a reason why the stock was trading higher, but something tells me there was something more.
This seems like it came out of the blue, but did we have any hint that this was coming? Was Volkswagen always kicking the tires on this?
We didn't have much of a hint that it was coming, but Rivian was clearly out there raising money and they needed cash. They've been burning cash. And given the low production numbers that they had, it really didn't seem like they were going to get to cash flow positive anytime soon. So they needed money. There were maybe financial partners out there they could have gone with, but this helps them a lot. It also helps Volkswagen, by the way, but it helps Rivian because now they have a partner, big auto company that has production, has engineering, has a big parts bin that they can get to for non-EV kind of parts. So maybe they can lower their costs a lot faster than they could have going on their own, selling, building 50,000 vehicles a year.
Yeah, this is all about the money. Rivian needs money to get through the R2 ramp. Volkswagen is going to try to piggyback off of Rivian's burgeoning success. If Rivian survives the R2 ramp, finally becomes profitable, they will be a legitimate, established EV manufacturer. And Volkswagen sees an opportunity. If Rivian survives the R2 ramp, which of course they need money to do so.
And for Volkswagen, they have
why
the
is
Scout unit.
Volkswagen doing this? I thought they had their own EVs.
They do, and they have their Scout unit that's supposed to make electric trucks, but they might get access to Rivian's pickup and SUV platform, which allow Volkswagen to get into those segments pretty quickly if that's what they want to do. We don't really have the details of the industrial logic behind this, but you can see where they could have a lot of joint manufacturing, joint engineering kind of ventures where they can both lower their engineering costs, get vehicles to market faster. And this is something Volkswagen does. They own a lot of other brands besides Volkswagen and Audi. They've got Bentley, they've got Lamborghini, they've got a bunch of other European brands as well. And, Volkswagen's always been the kind that acquires. They had a venture for a while with Ford doing self-driving vehicles.
Fail.
So this is a company that likes to play with others and likes to buy other brands. They're not going to buy Rivian, it doesn't seem like, but $5 billion over time, $1 billion to start. That gives Rivian a pretty good injection of cash to get going and a pretty long lifeline here if the venture takes hold and they get the other $4 billion, I should say.
Another stock that is absolutely rocking right now is Rivian. It's because Volkswagen announcing it's taking $1 billion stake in the EV maker, and the two automakers also planning a joint venture that could boost that investment to as much as $5 billion. Now, Rivian stock very heavily shorted. So all those betting against it just got their faces ripped off.
You could say that again.
So all those betting against it just got their faces ripped off, and they have to buy it. And that's probably one reason Rivian is up 48% right now. I know you didn't love the stock beforehand, Tom, but what is your take with this VW investment? Does it change your view on Rivian?
Well, I know for one thing, this is why I'm on the sell side and not at a hedge fund shorting stocks because, yeah, you're absolutely right. Getting your face ripped off.
Just a day in the life of a short seller, I'd imagine.
It's obviously good for the company in that they get much needed liquidity to take them through the next couple of years. Whether or not this allows them to achieve their goals and making, R2, R3, that's another question altogether.
Absolutely. This isn't as easy as Tesla makes it look. But if Rivian can survive, we might actually be talking about this company a decade from now. And not just fond memories of this EV startup Tesla wannabe.
What it does do is highlight something they do have, which is licensing software, right? That's what this deal is about. Volkswagen gives them some cash, and Volkswagen has tons of cash, gives them some cash, gets a big equity stake, and in exchange gets some software. We all know about the challenges Volkswagen's had with software, right? And so we think it's kind of a situation where two very different OEMs with two very different sets of problems really help each other out. But it doesn't really answer the question of Rivian as a car company, I don't think. But it does give them a valuation floor for definitely licensing this tech to other OEMs. Yeah. Is it worth 45% upside on today's move?
And I thought it's not in the details, Tom, so we're going to speculate here. But when I heard about the deal, it's not just the liquidity, i.e. money. I thought, could we see VW dealers start to sell the R1S and the R1T and the next generation of cars, and also be a place where you could go locally to have your Rivian potentially repaired rather than having to get it picked up and shipped off to a service center, which may or may not be near you? They're not saying that, but to me, it just seems to make sense.
Oh, but it doesn't. Neither company wants Volkswagen to be servicing R1Ss, R1Ts, whatever. Just something else for Volkswagen to up. Rivian doesn't want the headache, and Volkswagen couldn't do it even if they wanted to. The deal is simple. Volkswagen gives them money in exchange. This software possibility and the equity in Rivian is more than enough for Volkswagen, especially if they survive the ramp.
Well, both companies had a conference call after the announcement.
Okay.
I cover both stocks.
I did not hear it, so maybe they said it. I don't know.
Yeah. VW is vehement that they're just going to operate as separate companies altogether. Remember, VW wants to penetrate the U.S. market with its Scout brand, right? Pickup trucks and SUVs, which is going to go head-to-head against Rivian. So for VW, it's all about software. I don't think it's about selling Rivian's, that sort of thing. They're going to be kept separate. It's really a software deal more than anything else.
How much of the 48% you think is short covering, Tom? Very, very quickly.
A lot.
A lot. That's perfect. A lot.
Depending on your definition of a lot, that's probably an understatement. In conclusion, Ford is lagging behind GM quite a bit. I suppose that would matter if Tesla didn't exist. But Tesla does exist, and I don't give a about Ford or GM. At least when it comes to buying their stock. I want them to succeed, but yeah, I'm looking for something that's more than just an automotive company. And Rivian fulfills a Guggenheim prophecy of a 50% move, coming off the news that Volkswagen will possibly give Rivian $5 billion. Without a doubt, this is good news for Rivian. How this is fruitful for Volkswagen is a little bit murky. Should Rivian achieve this feat, not only will they become super valuable, but they might be able to give Volkswagen some pointers on how they too can become profitable. Should all that take place, $5 billion seems quite the deal. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.